Before we start digging into Gericault, I want to take a few minutes to review what happened at the end of the Napoleonic era. So we'll go back and take a quick look at David and the students of David, and then discuss what occurred in France after the final defeat of Napoleon at Waterloo and the beginning of what's known as the Bourbon Restoration. And this is essentially to serve as an introduction to Gericault and to make sure that you understand the concerns of Gericault and the other young artists who worked at the time. At the end of the Revolution, Napoleon comes to power, and his success is commemorated by the work of the painter Jacques-Louis David in paintings like Napoleon Crossing the Alps. And it really is a heroization of this man who rose through his own talents and came to dominate Europe. Of course, David wasn't the only painter to depict Napoleon. His students did so also, notably the painter Gericault. And here's Gericaux's image of the Battle of Eylau from 1807, where it really shows Napoleon in and among his troops being very much a soldier's soldier. And it was this that led to a lot of Napoleon's success on the battlefield. Of course, not everyone who painted Napoleon and his soldiers was a student of David. Among those who came to depict the world of Napoleon and his soldiers were the new generation of artists like the painter Gericault, who painted the charging chasseur, a soldier on horseback here. Gericault was a young painter. He was widely criticized in this painting for not being able to depict the human body correctly. To remedy that, he ended up traveling to Rome and studying there, and then returned to Paris, where he would paint Raft of the Medusa. Between the painting of the charging chasseur and Raft of the Medusa, Napoleon was defeated at Waterloo. He was succeeded in France by the brothers of Louis XVI, the kings Louis XVIII and then Charles X. I want you to imagine what this must have been like for someone like Gericault, who grew up in the chaos of the Revolution, only to see France triumphant under Napoleon, and then to see Napoleon defeated, his soldiers killed and humiliated, and a situation where there really was no glory or heroism left in the eyes of young men like Gericault. It's in this context that we can come to understand Raft of the Medusa, as Gericault's response not only to the incompetence of the Bourbon Restoration, but also his grief for the loss of the glory of France that he knew as a child under Napoleon.